Hey there, YouTube friends. Today we are in Planet Coaster reviving a project that's several years old and back into a more advanced theme where we're going to try to finish up this adventure coaster that I've been working on literally since Adventure Park. I'm Maskedbandit, this is Planet Coaster, and I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I mean, look at this sight for sore eyes. This is our old pal, the Adventure Coaster that I built when the Adventure Pack came out as a test of the pack. And oh boy, with Conifer Slopes coming to an end, it's time for no coaster left unturned, no project left unfinished. So I'm going through, I'm scrubbing my hard drive, and I'm trying to find some things to finish here. And this thing popped up, and it's really cute, and I really like it. I want to give you a quick rundown of what this area is like before we start improving it. And actually, today we're going to end with a bit of a cliffhanger, and you'll just have to wait to see what that is all about. Not everything always goes according to plan, so... So this is very old. It uses the swinging mine train, similar to the Seven Dwarfs. And I really tried to be compact, and what if Disney built this ride instead of the Seven Dwarfs, I guess, is kind of the vibe I'm going for. There are some things that haven't aged gracefully, and I don't want to do too terribly much to redo the layout here, but anyway, we're going with a temple theme, we're going with this adventure theme, and I thought it would be super fun to do some stuff with this coaster type to invert it and do this kind of stuff. Not the most realistic in its design. I don't think you could ever get away with this with the way the cars swing. But yeah, just a simple little ride. It's very slow. The stats are very mediocre at best. But there's a lot of work to be done. You can see we didn't get very far in this idea at all. We're going to do a lot of work with foliage. We're going to do a lot of work with actually this area here, which if you haven't seen, you should go watch the first 2 episodes of this series that I do legit think are like 6 or 7 years old. I talked about not wanting to make this an interior, but I had so much fun doing that Feywild area in Conifer Slopes that I really thought I would take a stab at a little bit of a dark ride, and a dark room, a dark interior here with some crystals and stuff like that. I thought that'd be super fun. So actually, we are going to make this an interior, so let's jump ahead and take a look at what this area looks like once I've taken my much more, now that I've grown as a creator. Let's take a look at what I've done. One of the things that was really tricky about this area here was making it look reasonable that this area would be connected, or that this track could logically be suspended. So I did make it very tight, and I did do some rock work, and I used some of the adventure blocks that came with the pack. That's really great, and I am still going to be leaning on the adventure pack, but I did use some TMTK coral and some TMTK crystals, but the rest is all in-game. We have some stalagmites and stalactites that I do believe came with the adventure pack, and we have some Nathans, some TMTK Nathans that we will be getting rid of, don't worry. And we have some beautiful waterfalls here, and while it looks all right during the day, I think where it really shines is at night. Literally. You can see we are rocking some obvious mood, some ambiance here as the coaster roars through at a medium pace. But nice, cool, natural crystal lighting here. And then, oh, door just shut. And then just the warmth of the torch, which is pretty cool. And then just using terrain, really making terrain do the heavy lifting in this project. That was one of the things I really wanted to do with this all those years ago, was to make terrain do a lot of the work for us. And then especially after working on Missouri with Jaunty, doing a lot of rock work there in this grasslands biome, I found a technique that works really, really well. So hopefully this looks pretty legit. Again, I'm going for implied, Jaunty likes to say, implied realism, where, yeah, this looks good enough. We're going to do some trigger sequences to make it look better. We're going to start filling out the area and really dressing up this drop here next. So let's take a jump forward and see what that looks like. This view makes me very happy. I am very pleased with how this turned out. I think this is giving that high budget vibe with still implied realism. I really went and increased the height here of the mountain to make it stand out a little bit more. And I really like this. This reminds me, I remember in Magic Kingdom at the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, there was a stone wall with a wooden fence over it that you could watch the drop. That's kind of what I was thinking of. I didn't pull any reference images, just going off of what I seem to remember it being like. And we'll obviously shore up the queue here, or the path here, to make this look a little more well placed. But yeah, I like this. I like this decorative fencing, and then the don't die fencing that's also themed with a couple don't enter signs, just to make it just to ground it in theme parkism. Did a lot of terrain work here. It's a little lumpy, bumpy, but I'm actually most happy with the queue. And you can see I did the technique. You can see over here, Mike Sheets a lot of times would use this, where you use a track ride to get nice, gentle banking, and then you use the terrain tools in conjunction with your track ride, and you create a nice, smooth slope. I've used it a few times, and that brings us to this staircase here that is going to eventually be, changed. I didn't do any cattle pens. Again, I think this is long enough. I kind of wanted the entrance to be by what has become the focal point, and it's this area right here. I want you to be close to this area when you can get on the ride. Granted, the exit's pretty far away, but whatever. Gone ahead, and we've added more foliage around here on the actual mountain itself to make it look more built in. And you will also notice this whole area is now enclosed, and we even have a bit of a backstage building. And we've used some really large trees to hopefully cover it up. And we've actually gone ahead and gotten the lights to turn on during the day because of the huge mass of terrain. So we don't even have to turn it to nighttime to see what's going on in here. You can see I've shored up this area now, and now the whole thing makes sense. It actually would be okay to turn it to nighttime, but I don't mind this. I think this is pretty cool. And then it goes around the mountain and back into the tunnel before exiting once again. One of the things I'm hopeful for Planet Coaster 2 is that this distinction between indoors and exterior doors, inside and outside, is a little bit crisper. We can get a little darker on the inside. That'd be super great. I know there are some videos out there, I think by Rudy, I think by Silverette, that talk about the potential for dark rides, and they were able to do it in their playthrough, which is super exciting. Excited to get some official word one way or another on that. But you can see we're really greening out this arch, just trying to blend it and hide as much of the track as possible from the onlookers, so you only see the parts that the park wants you to see. And now the next big task is to tackle this station. And with that being said, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, sometimes plans don't come to fruition. If you're liking this, bringing this project back, and you're excited for the direction it's heading in, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. That'd be super cool of you. So that out of the way, I do want to show you what I've been working on, and I don't know how I feel about it. I think I hate it. I spent a large amount of time working on this yesterday, and I was like, hey, you don't know. And I sat on it, and I've honestly been thinking about it ever since I built it yesterday. And the day has come and gone. About 24 hours have passed, and I don't think I like this at all. I want to do a temple as the station, but I don't think this is it. This is a little too wonky. I wanted to do an overlook into the station. I'm not sure if that's what's required, really. Honestly, I am at a loss, and I need your help. I don't think this is what's best for me. What do you recommend, or do you have a reference or an idea that I should go look at to help me flesh out this temple idea? I want to use a lot of the adventure pieces. I want to use some bright and bold colors. Basically, I want to do some things that I don't normally do. Like, I've been watching a lot of Steve Town by Mineral, and his color choices are so bold. Same with Kinderly, Nerd Chacho. There are so many great creators out there who are using such bold color choices, and I think I want to try and dabble in that. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, but I don't like what's happening with this. It's too blocky. It's not even. Like, I don't like the way these paths interact with the coaster and the tunnel. This was a pain. I think I need to start from scratch. So I am asking for your suggestions and your help into how to make this better. I do want to finish this. This station's going to be the biggest part left of the build, but then it's a lot of detailing and cool things, and I want to make this as nice as we can. So I don't think this is it. I really don't. And I'm sorry to have such a bummer, like, vibes about it, but I want to be honest with you. As you know, sometimes as a content creator, we kind of put out their best foot forward, and we only show you, obviously, the parts we wish to show you. But sometimes this happens, and sometimes you can power through. Oftentimes, I'll say start building, and if you don't like it, just keep going, and maybe eventually you'll end up falling in love with it, and sometimes that happens. But sometimes this happens. You build and you build and you build and you build, and you're waiting for that moment where you're like, yeah! And it just doesn't arrive. So you build more and more, and then you end up disliking it, and then you feel like, oh no, I've wasted all this time. It happens to the content creators you love and watch as well. And if it happens to yourself, you can guarantee it happens to us. Or maybe you're just amazing and it absolutely never happens to you, in which case, good on you. I am jealous. So that being said, help. Please. Why doesn't this work? How could it work? Do you have suggestions? Specific things I can look at as inspiration would be really helpful. So unfortunately, that's kind of where we have to leave it, because that's all I was able to get done for y'all. And actually, I'm kind of trying to keep my videos a little more concise. Your time is valuable, my time is valuable, and I want to honor your time, so I'm going to try these shorter. This is kind of my experimental phase as we wait to get into Planet Coaster 2. So let me know what you think about you might not have even noticed differences, but if you did, tell me what you think. Things like that. Yeah, let's get to a part that looks good. All right, we are back in the spooky dark tunnel, and that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. I am very excited. I loved doing the heavily themed stuff, and if you actually like the heavily themed stuff that this project kind of has, that this project is focusing on, if you haven't already, you should go watch the Feywild parts of Conifer Slopes, because it's very much high-budget theme. You might enjoy that. But we're going to be back in a little bit with another episode of this project. I think I'm going to go with a name change. We'll figure that out all later. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. I always do appreciate it. Take care. Have yourself a great day, great whatever. And I'll see you for the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.